Once I found out that I wasn't gonna get that beautiful old house of my dreams, that lit a fire under me to figure out how to build a house that was actually going to look and feel like it had been around for over 100 years. YouTube. I'm here in our kitchen. Behind me is the pantry, and today I'm going to share with you 5 things that we did kind of to the foundations of this house and the structure to make it feel like an old house. So over a year ago, we decided we were going to build a house and move to a different state. We bought property, and then shortly after we sold the current house we were living in, someone sent me a listing for a house that was about an hour away from the town that we were planning on building in. So about an hour away from where we are now. It wasn't the ideal location, but this house was gorgeous. It was a 1920s craftsman style house. It had all its original trim, beautiful wood trim, beautiful wood flooring, cased openings, built-ins. It was gorgeous, and it's really hard in this area to find beautiful old houses. We just don't have the history right here. I fell in love with this house. This house felt like it was my soulmate house, and I showed it to my husband. And he said no. This was not the plan. We were building a house. We bought property already. This is what we were doing. And I was feeling a little bit desperate at the time because we were living with his parents in a tiny bedroom with our pets. It was not ideal, and yes, I was feeling a little desperate. So he said no. That broke my heart, but him saying no to this beautiful old house really lit a fire under me, and I got obsessed with figuring out how we could build a new house that looked like an old house. And before this, I'd never seriously considered doing this. And it had kind of crossed my mind that maybe we'd add some old elements to the house, but this was like, we are recreating an old house. And so today's video is just gonna be about some things that we did to the structure of this house that, apart from all of our antique furniture and rugs and artwork, these are things that make the house feel like an old house on its own. So let's get started with the first thing. First of all, I want to start out talking about our house plan. Now, old house plans tend to be a little bit more closed concept, and craftsman houses kind of started to open up a little bit, and this house is more of a craftsman style, so it's not completely closed off like a colonial or even a Victorian house would have been. So as you go in, there's a central hallway right here, and then we have the dining room over here, and then the living room. And then back through this hall, we have the kitchen, and then the bedrooms and bathroom and laundry room back there. So it's a really simple house plan, and we just made a couple adjustments to it to make it more closed off. So we actually added a wall. This wall right behind me was not in the house plan. This little section was actually kind of a kitchen peninsula that would have come out and opened up into the dining room and living room area. So I closed that off into the kitchen. We also added these cased openings, which is the next point I'm going to make. So cased openings are something a lot of old houses have. And it's one of the first things people notice when they walk into this house, and it really, really creates that antique house vibe. So cased openings like this one behind me, it's basically where you take the walls out from the ceiling and the side walls and kind of create a frame around each room. And so we have one right here going into our dining room, right behind me. And then we also have one going into the kitchen. And we framed both of these out with trim, painted trim, and it just creates this really, really beautiful view into each room. And it also kind of separates each room a little bit. If we didn't have those cased openings, the dining room and the living room would all be one room with not really any separation. So what this does, it creates a little bit of coziness, and also it gives you the opportunity to maybe do something different in each room because it is cased off with this frame right here. We could technically put wallpaper in the dining room or a different color in the dining room, and it's not going to bleed into the rest of the space. So it really just gives you the opportunity for more decorating and more creativity and creating these really neat, cozy little spaces. If you have an open concept home, which they are beautiful, if you want to add a different color or maybe design a little differently in one spot, because it's all connected, you can't really do that as easily. Also, one great thing about cased openings is it creates more wall space for decorations. So we can put a little painting there, we can put a little hook and a mirror right there. It just creates little spots to add more artwork or bookshelves, or tuck a little chair in a corner like we do in the dining room. So it adds a lot of that coziness and kind of creates little spaces to decorate, and it totally makes it feel more like an old house. The next thing we did when choosing finishes for this house was our flooring choice. So this flooring is actually a laminate. It is not real hardwood, and I might do an entire video about our flooring and explain why we didn't do real hardwood, but we chose laminate rather than vinyl because vinyl tends to look a little bit more matte, not shiny, and to me it just looks obviously like plastic. So we went with laminate because it tends to be a little more shiny and glossy, like a real hardwood floor would be. And then also the color is this beautiful light honey color. And I noticed when doing a lot of research on old houses that they often had this light flooring, even if they had a dark hardwood trim, like in that beautiful house that we didn't get, it had a light floor and then this dark wood trim. And I love the way it looks with all of our beautiful oak and mahogany furniture. It just creates a really nice contrast. It looks really good with rugs, and it also just lifts the space because it's warm and bright and light. And then also, maybe one of the most important things in making the floor look authentically old and like it's real hardwood is the width of the planks. So if you notice, these planks look really, really narrow. And in real hardwood floors, usually the planks will be between 2 and 3 inches. So they're quite narrow, sometimes even narrower than that. And wide plank floors, occasionally there can be real hardwood wide plank floors, but it's very rare, especially in old houses. And it instantly will make the floor look fake. And that's not something I really noticed until I started doing research. And I noticed, why does this flooring look more authentic than this other one? And I realized that it was the width of the planks. So we chose one with narrow planks, and it looks really, really beautiful. A lot of people actually think that this is real hardwood when they come into our house, which is our goal. Another thing we really paid attention to when designing this house and choosing our floor plan were the windows. So old houses will often have tons and tons of windows, and they will be really tall windows. So this house plan has these beautiful big tall windows at the front of the house and also in the bedrooms. And I don't know if it was because they didn't have indoor electricity at the time, or maybe they just loved the aesthetics of big windows because they are beautiful. But that was something that we chose for this house. And also we decided to go with this dark bronze color on the inside of the windows as well as the outside, because a lot of old houses would have actually had wood frames, of course. We didn't do wood frames for various reasons, but these are vinyl windows that have this dark bronze coating on them. So it kind of looks like maybe they are actual wood windows that were painted. And then we also added these grids at the top of the windows, and that goes for all the windows in the house. And that really, really adds some character and uniqueness to these windows. It kind of makes them look like a craftsman house. So that's really, really important. It would not look as beautiful if it was just one pane on top of another pane. Adding those grids at the top really, really helps make it look like an old house. Next up, we are here in our beautiful kitchen. So in our kitchen, as well as both of our bathrooms, we have this beautiful oak cabinetry. Now this is called quarter sawn white oak specifically. And I had no idea what this wood was until my husband and I were doing antiquing, and I noticed that a lot of this beautiful furniture out there that I liked was made out of this unique wood that had almost like a tiger stripe look to it. And I looked it up and I discovered this wood was called quarter sawn oak. And it's actually just regular oak that is cut differently to give it this beautiful pattern like tiger stripes. And you will see this in a lot of antique furniture. They really, really loved it back in the day. So when our cabinet salesman sent me the link to the website to order our cabinets, I looked at the different wood choices and they actually happen to have quarter sawn white oak. And I didn't know that they actually used this wood anymore, and I was so excited. So we chose it because, like I said, all of this antique furniture we saw was made out of this wood. So I thought, why not make our cabinets out of this and make them look like they've kind of been here forever. And I love, love these cabinets. We also chose kind of a design that is inspired by images I was seeing of 1920s and 30s homes. So we did inset doors and drawers. I want to do an entire video on our cabinets, so I'm not going to go into great detail, but I just wanted to mention, because it is a fixed element in the house that is very, very obvious. So yes, we chose quarter sawn white oak, and it really goes well with all of our furniture and our finishes, and instantly, like I said, it kind of makes it look like this kitchen has been here forever. Also, I will be sure to add links below for anything that I can, so our cabinet company, our flooring, and also the house plan that we altered. So before we even put any of our furniture and antiques into this house, it already felt like an old house. The foundation of this house and our finishes already had that vintage antique feel to them. So that's really one cool thing about old houses, and something that makes them so desirable is that they are timeless. They truly are timeless. And you can take an old house, like an old craftsman house, and put modern furniture in it, and it looks really, really cool. So that is one reason why people love old houses, and that was what we were trying to achieve with this new house, was something that was more timeless, because a lot of the houses I'm seeing being built around us in this area specifically, but I think also around the world and in this country, a lot of the houses all kind of look the same. They are all time-stamped. And I do feel like the last 50 years or so, anything that's been built is out of style within like 5 or 10 years. Does anyone really desire a house that was built 20 years ago? No, most people don't. I mean, there are beautiful houses that were built 20 years ago, but people don't really aspire to that. But a lot of people really, really want an old house because it's unique, it's cozy, it has character. So we really tried to do that with a new house, and I do think it is possible, and I think that we achieved it. So if you liked this video, please click the like button below. Please subscribe as well, because I'm going to be doing more videos about this topic and different details that we added to this house and things we thought about when designing this house as well as decorating this house. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.